In the Holdovers, a strict history teacher at a boarding school is forced to remain on a campus over the Christmas holiday with a grieving cook and a troubled student who has no place to go. In this video essay, we are going to discuss the Oscar-winning movie, The Holdovers, using the play A Streetcar Named Desire as a reference to compare with. What is there for the ones that can't catch up with society?
Blanche is the character who noticeably experimented the most amount of cruelty during the play. She's also the most fragile one. Blanche lost everything. All she needs is help, someone to rely on. She came from the south after losing her home and all her relative one. She passed from having all to nothing, and instead of finding the support from her precious sister, she found Stanley, who only mistreated her and put her only remaining familiar, Stella, against her. Something similar happens with the poor Mary, the cook of the school in the Holdovers, who recently lost her son because of war. Due to that, she decided to stay in school during the holidays just not to be alone. The difference is that on the one hand, Blanche, looking for help and support, only found cruelty and rejection, while on the other hand, Mary found it somewhere between all that frailty in Angus and Paul. Also, cruelty towards Paul is remarkable. One clear example is Paul's scene in his dialogue with his ex-Harvard roommate. Hugh, the roommate, represents this cruelty, because in this conversation we see how this man only tried to humiliate Paul and treat him as a failed. And even more, we later see that Paul never completed university because Hugh accused him of plagiarism in the final thesis, and because of the revenge that Paul took by hitting Hugh with his car, got expelled from Harvard.
I mean, who'd want you for a son? That's why you grind everybody, because deep down, you know you're an asshole. Plus, academically, you're a disaster. I mean, if I were your parents, I'd never want you home again. The only tool in your room is you.
It is noticeable the hardness with which reality hits each character. They can be qualified as truly marginals. If they remain stiff, they'll be lost. So there's only a single option: to keep moving. To disguise their frailty, Paul and Angus are psychologically close in a nutshell, which guarantees their security towards the cruel outside world. And as cruelty is what they receive, cruelty is what they'll deliver. Hostility is their coping mechanism to interact with those who disturb their well-being. Students and professors are always setting distance with the rest of the scholar body, family, and those they know. The protagonists throw defiant glances, insult, and show an introverted attitude. They receive in a gap that initially functions around them. Both have no concern of what they provoke on the others, just as society doesn't care about them. The duo spits their inner pain through a hostile contact. Blanche handles herself definitely in a similar way. Just like Angus and Paul, she doesn't belong to any place, to anyone. Her dream, Belle Reve, has collapsed, in addition to her relationship and carefree life. She is now alone, in a hostile world, although she is being maintained by Stella and Stanley. And unlike the film duo, she isn't hostile towards her surroundings. She's hostile towards herself. Blanche abuses alcohol to camouflage her frailty and to reject reality, the truth. The character is even described as a moth, a weak creature which stays in the light, in truth.
Paul, Angus and Blanche are essentially the same character. They are lonely and fragile people that are constantly told that they do not belong there and are not welcomed. People that feel foreign to the world because, simply, they don't fit in. For instance, Paul wasn't liked by almost anyone in the school, which is where he dedicated his entire life. Angus was rejected by his own mother, and Blanche was certainly unwanted by Stanley. It is said that there is no place like home, but for them, such a place doesn't exist. However, this is where the main difference between Blanche and the duo from the movie lies. This is the difference that will change their fates. Angus and Paul ended up finding shelter between them, building their own home. They, who started as complete strangers, realized that the thing that was opposing them was the thing that actually united them. That fighting between them was fighting their own kind, joining the cruelty of the world. New Year has arrived, and with it, there is a new life for them, with new promises and objectives. A new stage of their lives has started, and it's looking hopeful. In comparison, there is no hope in Blanche's new life. She never finds a home nor anyone gives shelter to her. She just ends up alone, being rejected by everyone she ever knew. She ends up alone in an asylum, foreign to the world, to the real world. What is there for the ones that can't catch up with society? Cruelty, most certainly, but also the never-ending promise of hope.